In effort to stop organized labor from embarking on another industrial action, the meeting between the federal government and the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC to avert an imminent strike action ended yesterday without a concrete resolution to the union's demands. In attendance were the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, and Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Ajayi-Kadir. They met with the NLC President Joe Ajayi and other leaders in Abuja. However, the NLC says none of its demands have been implemented by the government, but it remains open to further discussions before its deadline in 10 days. So joining us now on the morning show to share thoughts of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, concerning the looming strike is Segun Ajayi-Kadir, Director General, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. Great to have you. So we have a big conundrum as regards to the strike issue. What's your take on it as regards even the demands of labor? Do you think the 30,000 minimum wage as we speak today is adequate for an average Nigerian worker? Let's start from there.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, Rufai. It's a pleasure to see you and Dr. Abati. Yes. I think in the real sense of the word, 30,000 naira today in Nigeria looks grossly inadequate for anyone to live on. So, but we also know that the economy is going through trying times, and coming from 18,000 to 30,000 may look like at least some form of improvement. So I believe that there has to be quite a number of other supportive measures that will ensure that even that 30,000 that could be paid as minimum wage becomes meaningful to anyone who lives in Nigeria.
Well, I mean, how do you think this matter can be resolved? Because if organized labor goes on total and indefinite strike, as the leaders have threatened, your association is also going to be affected. The entire economy will be affected.
Yes.
What option do you think is left to government, particularly now that the labor leaders say, well, if government is ready for further discussions, they are ready, but their deadline is expiring this week?
Well, Dr. Abati, this is very worrisome. And my hope, if not prayer, is that it should not just happen, because the economy can ill afford any strike, and that it is even an indefinite strike. And coming from where we are since the beginning of the year, the economy has witnessed unprecedented hiccups. We've had the Naira transition, we've had the floating of the exchange rate. There has also been the removal of fuel subsidy. All of these have constrained economic performance. And so adding a strike at this time is not good for anyone, not even for the manufacturing sector that for more than 30 years, we have never witnessed this kind of consumer apathy that we are seeing. The average Nigerian's disposable income has dramatically dwindled. We are having situations where influx of foreign goods that compete unfairly with our products have been massive. We've seen quite a number of disruptions of economic life. So the manufacturing sector will certainly go into recession if we have any strike that is for an indefinite period or for a very long time. So I think that that prospect should not happen. Government should do its best, even though the discussions with the NLC didn't go well. I don't think it should end there. And the discussions also with TUC today, I mean, the Minister of Labour and his counterpart will ensure that they do the best they can to reach an agreement with government. This is more so that the Labour is saying that they have had assurances from government, there has been promises that has been made. I think if government makes a promise and discovers that it's not able to keep it, it has to do full disclosure to the labor union and show them the figures. They should be transparent in what government is doing, and the communication should be right. I don't think it is in the interest of Nigeria for us to allow another round of hardship on the average Nigerian. This strike has to be averted by all costs. And I think everybody's hand should be on deck, the government, the private sector, the media, I mean, even traditional rulers, the National Assembly, everyone should prevail on not only labor, but on government as well, to act in a responsible and accountable manner so that they will earn the trust of the labor unions. Yes.
So we keep saying prevail on government. Is this not hypocritical in nature? Because this was the same government that said it was going to form a tripartite committee with the NLC in the first place, didn't do anything about it. This was the same government that said it was going to go ahead and listen to the yearnings of the people. Nothing was done as regards it. Government promised that, by December, one refinery will be working. We're still waiting for December for that to happen. So why do you keep saying we prevail on the government? Doesn't the government know what is right in these negotiations in the first place?
Well, I think action has to be translated, words have to be translated to action. And communication is also very important. The government should ensure that, again, we have to speak to government because everything now appears to be in the hands of government. The Labour have always demonstrated that they are willing and ready to have conversation with government. And if government has challenges why it cannot fulfill those promises, I believe Labour has shown enough maturity and will be able to understand what situation government has found itself. This government is just 100 days old or thereabout, and most of the challenges that we are facing were inherited. But Mr. President said it himself that he asked for this job. He needs to get the job done. And there should be no excuse about how Nigerians should be able to continue with our lives. Manufacturing is bleeding. We have had the exit of GSK. Unilever had to discontinue three of its oldest brands. And there are so many industries that have capacity utilization not above 56%. For a very long time. Inflation is 18 years high. So, the prognosis are not just right. So, government needs to bend over backwards and do the right thing. That's why I'm saying that it must take the effort of all of us, to help the process. I do not think that government should not take the grievances or the demands of labor seriously. I believe that government should demonstrate effort. And within these few days that is remaining for the indefinite strike to commence, government still has a window. Rufai, I honestly cannot imagine how Nigeria will be able to survive this indefinite strike. To me, it is very bad. I had conversations with some of my...
Mr. Segun-Kadir, you insist that...
I had conversations with some of our CEOs.
Yes, you insist that government still has a window. Okay. But government has not done anything since May. Since May, let's say June, the conversation started. So June up till this time, we're in September. This is June, July, August, September, 4 months. So what's the magic now? That's what we keep saying. Because I understand the interest of you manufacturers. You don't want workers to go on strike because production line must go on, we must keep the economy running. But what would you say about government that has shown bad faith?
Yes, we elected this government and we will have to make a demand on the government to ensure that this time around they reach an amicable settlement with labor. I continue to insist that Mr. President asked for this job. He has told us that he has no excuse. So no excuse should be given. If there is need to reinforce the position of government together, with the labor and with Labour Minister. There has just to be a way for them to get out of this. And I believe that the coordinating minister for the economy should see the danger in allowing this strike to go on. At the same time, I also feel that the labor unions also need to probably ensure that they do not hold back whenever this approach from government comes, because I believe many people are speaking. In fact, we are taking it upon ourselves to also engage them to see how we can avoid this strike. But the buck, like rightly said, Rufai, stops on the government's table. They need to ensure that this strike does not go on, because we can't just afford another strike. This is not the time to go on strike at all. I mean, we can see many small and medium-scale industries have even forgotten about what profit looks like. I mean, so we cannot push them, and there's tension all over. Even if this strike should go on, the possibility that it can escalate and maybe degenerate into social unrest is imminent. There's so much hardship around, obviously maybe because of the reforms that we have seen. But then government has to manage the process well, in such a way that even the security of the country, apart from the economy, is taken into cognizance.
Okay, Mr. Ajayi-Kadir, you've talked about government. You've also said Labour has shown, a lot of maturity. But Simon Lalong, the Minister of Labour and Employment, yesterday was appealing to the Labour leaders to please give government more time. The government still needs time to address these issues and not to go on strike. Should Labour heed that appeal and give government a little more time? Do you think that Labour should do so, and that could make a difference?
Okay, I'm a bit worried about asking for time, because 4 months has passed, like Rufai said, and I think that asking for time should be accompanied with concrete steps that government will take, and we should set timelines that this time must be followed. Because I believe that the labor unions have responsibility to their workers. And increasingly, one is seeing that many Nigerians are rallying behind the labor union to demand a lessening of the hardship that they face. This is normal. This should be expected by government. And so government machinery should be put in place. Now we have almost 50 ministers, so everybody is on their various jobs, positions, and so government has full machinery to work and ensure that a coordinated approach is given to resolving the issue. So I don't think that the communication should be only to ask for time, but to say concretely what will be done within that time, because it's evident that government trust deficit is rising on this matter, and a lot has to be done to redress that. I think the Honorable Minister should add actions to be done with timelines and how they are going to implement it. The implementation strategies should be put in place as well, so that labor could be assuaged.
Okay, on that note, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadir, we would like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show today.